All right.
All right, we are on. This is Keith McHenry at the Raw Spirit Festival here, my good friend, who has the most incredible program called Food Not Bombs. Right? I mean, it's so inspirational. It's just, I'm speechless.
Yeah, that's so nice. Thanks.
Tell us a little.
Yeah, well, Food Not Bombs collects food from grocery stores, produce markets, bakeries that can't be sold, and we make it into vegan meals that we share on the streets in 1,000 cities every week. Some cities like Moscow, Russia, New Orleans, Louisiana, Portland, Oregon, San Francisco serve every day of the week. We also, with Food Not Bombs, have started other programs like Food Not Lawns, where we take abandoned lots in people's yards and their lawns, and we teach people how to grow organic vegetables. We also do another project called Bikes Not Bombs, where we teach people how to take bike parts, put them together, make their own bikes. We also send those bikes off sometimes to places like Nicaragua, and, Africa and Laos, but also just to poor people in our communities. We started the Homes Not Jails program, where we take over abandoned buildings that are left empty due to the foreclosure crisis. We put our own locks on them. We then bring homeless families to those buildings at 9 o'clock in the morning, help them move in, fix up the buildings, give them a lease, and let them live in it. Another really popular project that's growing these days is the really free markets, where we take all the items that already been mass produced that are being tossed out, and we make stores basically out in parks or on street corners, and we'll have a whole area full of appliances or clothing, and then we'll provide a free meal. Sometimes doctors and nurses and acupuncturists will provide support, and we give away free everything to people: free medical care, free refrigerators, free shoes, whatever it is that people donate for our really free markets. So those are some of the projects. We're also a terrorist organization according to the U.S. government. I've been arrested many times.
You're undermining free capitalism.
Yep, we're just totally a threat to capitalism. And in the United States, mainly, we're all over the world, but in the U.S., that's where we're criminalized the most. And I did 2 years in jail. I faced 25 years to life in prison.
Oh my God.
I was beaten 13 times by cops on the streets with either their metal flashlights or batons. I ended up getting 2 surgeries to repair my sinuses from one beating. I was also taken to police intelligence office 3 times, had my clothes ripped off of me, was lifted by my arms and legs and smashed repeatedly on the floor until my ligaments and tendons ripped, and then I was stuck in a little tiny cage that they called the K-cell. It was like a metal box hanging from the ceiling. I was just held there for 3 days the first 2 times and 4 days the 3rd time. And then now we've been banned from serving food in New Mexico and Connecticut currently as statewide actions by those governments. We also are being harassed in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, in Northampton, Massachusetts, Flagstaff, Arizona, and essentially what they are trying to say is because of our message, we get turned in by defense contractors, and then they claim we need health permits and food sanitation permits, but when we comply, they ignore whether we got a kitchen or not, and they claim we're selling food without a permit, and we go to them and say we're not selling food, it's free food, it's unregulated activity, you don't have any jurisdiction over it, and they just pretend like we're not cooking in a health inspected kitchen, that it is a regulated activity because they're claiming we're serving it, and it's like this endless loop of craziness that just goes on and on.
There are many communities that are accepting with open arms as well.
Correct. In most of the cities of the United States, we're in 500 cities. It's only a small number that are bothering us. And then when we're in other countries, I ended up meeting the president of Nigeria, who used to be a military dictator. And he actually put me in touch with his Secretary of Food Security, and I went to her house and met with her for in the evening and had dinner with her, and then I went to her office the next day. So I can go to countries like other parts of the world. In Kenya, they love us. They love us in Singapore, Thailand, Indonesia. Colombia even. We had no problems in Bogota, Colombia, or in Santiago, Chile. So it's just really the special cases in the United States.
Yeah, it's hard. You're at the heartland of capitalism, making money, not selling things free.
Right, and you've noticed too, like the industry that's most profitable in New Mexico is the military.
Yes.
Connecticut, the military is another big industry there. So you can always see that it's apparent whenever the military is feeling that their profits will be threatened. So the people that originally turned us in San Francisco, they made 1,000 arrests. Volunteers there, was Bechtel, Chevron, Bank of America. And it turned out it was their investments in defense that freaked them out. They went to the police intelligence unit, asked them to figure out a plan. They figured out their plan. Millions of dollars later, we're still serving 7 days a week in San Francisco. So in Orlando, they tried to stop us. The city was ordered to pay $200,000 to our attorneys. West Palm Beach, they had to pay $100,000 to our attorneys. So far, it is just doing nothing but backfiring on them, and we're getting larger and larger.
Do you find that you're able to educate the street person about a vegan diet and living a healthier lifestyle?
Well, they're the easiest people to convince that vegan is a great way to live. And this is what happens. They eat with us first one day. Then, maybe it's like we're only doing it once a week. They eat with us the second, the next week. The next week. They come up to us all the time and say, look, you serve every Sunday. I always feel best on Mondays. There's something different about this.
Really?
Yeah.
Because that's the difference between many of these church soup kitchens and, having a real vegan soup kitchen, so to speak. Because diabetes is an epidemic among the poor, among the Native Americans, among many of the street people. So I think this is a dual good.
It does. They actually do feed. This response happens all the time. Another interesting thing, there are a lot of people that live on the streets that were vegan before they became homeless. And people don't even realize that that's an actual whole population of people.
Wow.
Because there's enough vegan people in America that it's likely that you're a vegan person and you couldn't pay your mortgage. Or I just ran into a vegan woman the other day in California where they basically forced her out to give up her house to the banks. And they ended up, she had a $400,000 house and her husband was trying to cooperate with the banks, and they signed agreements. They pretend like they lost, the banks said they lost the agreements, wouldn't honor them even when they brought in the agreements, and in the end her $400,000 house got auctioned off for $100,000 by the bank.
That's terrible.
And that story's over and over and over again.
Yeah, it's absolutely terrible. Well, listen, this is Keith's book. It's called Food, Not Bombs. Okay, so it's a different paradigm for America, and street life, and the world. Here's Food from Not Bombs, a video. We'll post this on our website if anyone wants to get it. We'll have it available.
I want one.
What's the name of your website?
It's foodnotbombs.net.
Foodnotbombs.net. So go visit that and you can get more information.
And one of the main things that we promote is get people volunteering with our group, therefore finding out all the things that come with it, or starting their own group. And we're happy to help you start your own group. We also, I speak at colleges and at community groups, so if you ever want me to come and speak, I speak about the history and then basically the method of how we organize and how we introduce the world to vegetarian and vegan food, what we were originally calling vegetarian, now we call vegan diet, and all kinds of issues connected to climate change, the environment, genetically modified foods, civil rights, human rights, animal rights, all these issues, and we discuss them in just a 45-minute presentation, plus we show a video about food not bombs in Africa.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having us. That's great.
Right.
That's so cool.
Awesome. Absolutely awesome.